inferences that prove the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Cong Long and Ailian. Everything has a source, and the source is the greatest creator. 万物有源，源头为上帝. The Amazon River that runs across South America, the mighty Nile River, the surging Yangtze River, and the roaring Mississippi River all have their headstreams. The Benguela Cold Current, Peru Cold Current, Mozambique Warm Current, and Guyana Warm Current all have their sources. The Rio de Janeiro London Airline, Los Angeles Paris Airline, Honolulu Manila Airline, and Paris Colombo Airline all have their starting points. All the tools we commonly use, from pencils, needles, shovels, spoons, and pliers to cars, computers, printers, cameras, and machine tools, as well as all the objects we use, from musical instruments, chess, painting and calligraphy, books, watches, and clocks, to tables, chairs, and wooden stool, shoes, socks, hats, teacups, thermoses, desk lamps, phones, refrigerators, and televisions. Everything created by humanity has its origin and did not appear out of nowhere. The cats, dogs, sheep, and pigs we keep in our homes all have a source, and even the plants we cultivate in our gardens, such as peonies, peaches, pears, and apricots, did not appear out of thin air. Their original origins can be traced. Music, writing, art, medicine, theories, methods, magic arts, and axioms and theorems all have sources. White Europeans, black Africans, yellow Asians, Arabians, and Brazilians are all descendants of their ancestors. The towering Himalayas, the fertile and vast Nile Delta, the extensive Amazon alluvial plain, and the Antarctic glaciers are all formed by the vicissitudes of history. All things have their origins, and the Earth, the solar system, and the universe are no exception. They too have their beginnings. Since everything has an origin, there must be a primordial origin, and this primordial origin is the greatest creator. Everything is in motion, and the primordial motive power comes from the greatest creator. ทุ万物在动，出动力来自上帝. Mountains are rotating, winds are dancing, rivers are flowing, and springs are bubbling. Clouds are drifting, and the earth is moving. The sea is churning and flames are burning. Grass and trees are growing. Flowers are fading. Bacteria are multiplying, and insects are busy. Cows and sheep are grazing. Lions and tigers are running. Hens are laying eggs, and larks are singing. Electrons are swirling. Molecules are moving. Particles are flowing, and electromagnetic waves are rushing. Infrared radiation is radiating, and gamma rays are piercing. Electromagnetic waves are spreading, and photons are flashing. The heart is beating, blood is flowing, the skin is breathing, and the stomach is moving. Nerves are sensing, hair is growing, thoughts are connecting, and spirits are stirring. Though seated, we travel 1,000 miles in a flash. The Milky Way spans millions of years. The sun, moon, stars, and celestial bodies fly by like lightning. Black hair at dawn turning white at dusk. Everything in the universe is in motion, and it is through mutual impetus that things move. But where does the initial force originate if there is no greatest creator? Everything has an image, and the nature of the image is energy, with the core of this energy being the greatest creator. 万物有相，相的本质是能量，能量的核心是上帝. An image refers to the size, shape, appearance, and structural type of an object, which is a watershed that distinguishes one substance from another and one object from another. Microorganisms and insects, grass and trees, humans and other animals, mountains and rivers, and so on, all are different, and the reason is that their images are different. If everything has its own unique image, how is an image generated? The origin of an image lies in the genetic structure. The image of something is determined by its genetic structure. The image of water is different from that of oil because their molecular structures are different, which means their genetic structures are different. However, any structure without the participation of energy can only be an illusion. For example, if we want to build a house, we first need to imagine the structure of the house in our brain. For complex buildings, we also need to draw a schematic diagram of the structure. But without the input of mechanical and human energy, the structure we imagined in our brain can only be an illusion. Only when we put in the energy of manpower and material resources can the structure that we imagined in our brain become a real house. A seed can only become a plant after absorbing nutrients and water from the soil and heat and light from the sun. A fertilized egg in the mother's womb can only develop into an animal with a head and feet if it is constantly supplied with nutritional energy. A light bulb can only emit light when electricity is input. A pile of soil can only become a mountain with the energy of the continuous movement of the earth. A river can only become a raging torrent with the energy of thousands of streams. So where does this energy come from? Let's trace it back to its source. For a small sapling to grow leaves, it needs to absorb water, which mainly comes from the infiltration of rainwater. So where does the rainwater come from? Rainwater comes from clouds that carry water vapor from the sky. And where do the clouds come from? The wind carries them from the ocean. And where does the wind come from? The cold and hot air currents on Earth form it through convection. And how are the cold and hot air currents formed? They are formed because the surface of the Earth continuously gains and loses solar energy as it rotates, ignoring factors such as lunar gravity. So how did the Earth start to rotate? And what force keeps it rotating continuously? According to the law of energy conservation, there can be no perpetual motion machine in the universe. The motion and changes of any object must be driven by one or more other energies. Without energy, there is no motion or change in anything. Therefore, all the motion and changes in things must ultimately have an initial push of energy that is not constrained by other energies. This initial energy is the greatest creator. The initial rotation of the Earth was driven by the energy of the greatest creator, and after it was set in motion, it was driven by other planets in the solar system, including comets. Everything is connected by cause and effect, and every effect has a cause. The initial cause of all causes is the greatest creator. For 因果相连，凡果都有因，所有因的出因是上帝. We've all had headaches before. Although the causes of each person's headache may be different, there is always a cause, and there is never a headache for no reason. Regardless of what kind of disease a person has, the disease always has a cause, even congenital diseases. There should be no dispute about this. Similarly, typhoons, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, sandstorms, SARS viruses, etc., all have their reasons for occurring. The Second World War, the Crusades, the Middle East wars, etc., all have reasons and will not occur for no reason. Many Jews were killed during World War II, the Titanic hit an iceberg, the World Trade Center in the United States was bombed, the Soviet Union disintegrated, Hong Kong was reclaimed, and Saddam's regime was forcibly removed. All of these events had their reasons. Does the Earth not orbit the Sun and the Moon not orbit the Earth for a reason? Do plane crashes, train collisions, collapsed buildings, and floods not have a reason? Do being condemned by thousands, losing one's family and possessions, being imprisoned, and dying from unfortunate events not have a reason? Do having sores on the head and pus flowing from the feet, being deaf and blind, and losing limbs not have a reason? Do tigers hunting deer, birds catching insects, pigs being slaughtered, and people encountering unexpected misfortunes not have a reason? Did the ancient civilizations of the Maya, Greece, Egypt, Rome, Syria, Persia, and Babylon disappear without a reason? Did the rise of the new American civilization not have a reason? In the inevitable article of Chanyuan Corpus, I listed the following phenomena: the rise of wind and waves, the ebb and flow, the rising of clouds and falling of rain, snow and mist, thunder and lightning, tsunamis, typhoons, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, sandstorms, the disappearance of birds, sunrise and sunset, rainbows, eclipses, the changing of the seasons, the migration of birds, the hibernation of frogs and snakes, the morning song of the skylark, the crowing of the rooster, the proliferation of insects, the multiplication of bacteria, birth in the spring, and growth in the summer, harvesting in autumn and storage in winter, the entanglement of vines, the fragrance of the cinnamon tree, the blooming and falling of flowers, the sunflowers facing the sun, the drifting of continents, the splitting of the Earth's crust, the melting of snow-covered mountains, the disappearance of small islands, changes in the course of rivers, landslides in mountains, the increasing height of peaks, the weathering of rocks, the crisscrossing of gullies, the shifting of sand dunes, springs emerging from rocks, waterfalls hanging from cliffs, and the transportation of sand by rivers, the appearance of deltas, and so on, all have a reason. Whether in the sky or on Earth, all phenomena or results have a reason, and we cannot find a phenomenon or result without any reason. If the reason for the appearance of life on Earth is due to the existence of the Earth and the solar system, and the reason for the creation of the solar system is because of the existence of the Milky Way, then what is the reason for the birth of the Milky Way? If we continue to trace it back, we will know that at the beginning of the universe, there must have been a first cause, and that cause, the dynamic force, is the greatest creator. Everything has a purpose for its existence, and the ultimate purpose is the greatest creator. 5. 万物存在都有目的，终极的目的是上帝。The purpose of microorganisms is to enrich soil and decompose organic matter. The purpose of soil is to nourish plants. The purpose of plants is to provide food for insects and animals. And the overall purpose of plants and animals is to serve humans. So, what is the purpose of humans? Any object created by humans has a purpose. The purpose of a car is transportation. The purpose of a phone is communication. The purpose of clothing is warmth. And the purpose of a house is shelter. The purpose of the countless objects created by humans is only one: to serve humans. So, what is the purpose of humans? The purpose of the entire galaxy is to serve a few special star systems, one of which is the solar system. The purpose of the solar system is only one: to serve Earth. The purpose of Earth is also only one: to serve humans. So, who do humans serve? The existence of the sun, moon, ocean, air, land, ozone layer, and so on is all for the benefit of humans. Even the existence of flies, mosquitoes, and rats ultimately serves humans. Viruses that cause disease also exist to maintain the balance of humans. So, what is the purpose of human existence? Everything in the material world exists to serve humans. So are we humans simply the supreme enjoyers? Does our existence have no purpose? We humans raise cows, horses, pigs, sheep, chickens, and ducks. But for what purpose? Do we not have any purpose when we cultivate crops? Do we not have any purpose when we create airplanes, atomic bombs, and spaceships? All human activities have a clear purpose, and everything in the universe has a purpose for its existence. Are humans the only creatures without a purpose? Humans do have a purpose for their existence, and that is to serve the greatest creator. Why do we humans not realize that our existence is to serve the greatest creator? It is like the bees we keep do not realize they are serving us unless they have human-like thinking. Unless we have the same thinking as the greatest creator, we do not know the purpose of our human existence. In human history, only Jesus and Buddha knew the greatest creator, while Muhammad and Laozi had some understanding of the greatest creator. I clearly tell everyone that the purpose of human existence is to serve the greatest creator. The ultimate purpose of all existence in the universe is for the greatest creator. Knowing the ultimate purpose of human existence, we have a goal to live for: to serve the greatest creator. Existing for the greatest creator, we have a bright future. Turning away from the greatest creator, our future will be dark. Life is graded, and the highest grade is the greatest creator. 生命有等级，最高级就是上帝。The universe exists in order, and the essence of order is hierarchy. Take stones as an example. The grade of a diamond is relatively high, while the grade of a stone that can be broken by hand is relatively low. The grade of ruby and sapphire is higher than that of cat's eye stone, and the grade of cat's eye stone is higher than that of yellow sapphire and spinel. The grades of yellow sapphires and spinels are higher than that of aquamarines and zircons, and they gradually decrease to emeralds, green gems, tourmalines, crystals, garnets, olivines, jades, wood fossils, nephrite, opal, moonstones, sunstones, turquoise, Suyan jade, malachite, coral, pumice stone, granite, and bluestone, all the way down to ordinary pebbles. Taking humans as an example, according to the percentage of spirituality in human nature, there are 18 grades of human beings. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Laozi are the first grade. St. Peter, Paul, and Tang Sanzang are the second grade. Chinese Taoist figures such as Zhang Sanfeng are the third grade. Beethoven, Bach, Rodin, Strauss and Einstein are the 4th grade. Zhangzia, Zhongliang, and Zhuge are the 5th grade. Rural farmers who are simple and untainted by the pollution of commodity society are the 6th grade. Washington, Lincoln are the 7th grade. Florence Nightingale is the 8th grade. Shakespeare, Lu Xun, and Hu Shi are the 9th grade. Tang Taizong, Kangxi are the 10th grade. Fictional characters from novels such as Liangshan heroes, Zhu Yingtai, Romeo, and Juliet are the 11th grade. The vast majority of ordinary people are the 12th grade. The vast majority of government officials in China since ancient times are the 13th grade. Shakespeare's characters such as Grindelwald, Sherlock, and the profit-seeking merchant Shylock are the 14th grade. People who live frivolously and live in the moment are the 15th grade. Those who are selfish, self-interested, and do not uphold public ethics are the 16th grade. Those who live in confusion are the 17th grade. Those who confuse good and evil are the 18th grade. Taking life as an example, from low to high, they are life in molten lava and flames, life in ice and snow, life in eternal darkness, life in mountains and rocks, life in soil, life in water, life in air, plants, insects, land animals, aerial animals, livestock and poultry, dogs, human beings, people in the 1,000-year world, celestial beings in the 10,000-year world, Buddhas in the Elysium world, gods in the heaven world, and the greatest creator in the zero world. Life has grades, and wherever there are grades, there must be the highest grade. The highest grade of life is the greatest creator. Everything is in order, and the greatest creator is the maker of order. 7. 万物有序，秩序的制定者是上帝. Human society is organized with orders. A country can only have one president. This is an order. If there were 2 presidents, the country would surely split into 2. When 10 companies merge into one, there will be one CEO, not 10. Subordinates obey superiors, employees obey bosses, police restrain criminals, and businesses must have a license, etc. All these are orders. Although the Constitution and laws are made by humans, it cannot be said that orders are made by humans. The order created by humans must conform to human nature and the basic norms of society. For example, no matter how extremely bright and intelligent the people in a country are, you cannot establish the order of having 2 presidents in one country because the order of having one leader for a group is established by the greatest creator, which cannot be violated. Whether it's a group of ants, a hive of bees, a group of goats, a pack of wolves, a family, or a clan, there can only be one leader. The order of human life, from fetus, baby, adolescent, young adult, middle-aged, menopause, old age, to death, is established by the greatest creator and cannot be violated. Being hungry requires eating, and eating requires excretion. This is also an order that cannot be controlled by humans. Each person has their own life trajectory, which is the program of life that cannot be changed by subjective will. Every parent hopes that all their children will become successful and bring honor to the family, but the hope remains a hope. Children will live according to the program of their own life trajectory, which is why some children succeed while others do not. If personal will could determine one's life trajectory, pigs and dogs would become humans, and everyone could become an emperor. The vast majority of people, especially those who are wealthy and influential, do not want to die. But wanting to live does not change the fact that death is inevitable because it is the order established by the greatest creator. If the people before you do not die, there will be no way forward for those who come after. Everyone is equal in the face of death, and this is the order. The moon revolves around the earth revolves around the sun and rotates on its own axis, and the solar system follows the Milky Way. This is the order. Dragons give birth to dragons, phoenixes give birth to phoenixes, and the offspring of mice dig holes. This is the order. Those who respect the greatest creator and live according to the order established by the greatest creator can enter the higher level of life space. Those who despise the greatest creator and live against the order established by the greatest creator will inevitably descend to the lower level of life space. This is also the order. Everything has order. So who created this order? Was it our human ancestors? Was it an emperor from a certain dynasty? Was it the dinosaurs? Definitely not. Apart from the greatest creator, who else has this ability? All things are interconnected, and the end point of this interconnection is the greatest creator. 8万物相互感应，感应的终端是上帝. In the universe, everything is connected to each other through reaction. Reaction is the process by which something senses and responds to external stimuli. External stimuli can be divided into two types: explicit and implicit stimuli. Explicit stimuli are mainly conveyed through form, smell, color, sound, temperature, texture, and brightness. Implicit stimuli are mainly conveyed through sound waves, electromagnetic waves, thought waves, biological waves, same frequency waves, radiation, and other means. For example, when people see beautiful birds, blue skies, handsome men, and beautiful women, they feel happy. When they see caterpillars, snakes, dark rolling clouds, or devils in horror movies, they feel afraid. When they see sexy women in short skirts, they feel aroused. When they encounter things they dislike, they feel disgusted, mainly due to different forms of stimuli. Smelling the fragrance from the kitchen can increase one's appetite, while smelling the stench of overflowing feces in the toilet can make one feel nauseous. The fragrance of flowers can make one feel refreshed, while the smell of vomit from a drunk person can make one feel uneasy, mainly due to different odor stimuli. Seeing colorful flowers can make one happy. Seeing the bloody scene of a murder can be distressing. Seeing the color blue can feel refreshing, and seeing the color red can feel warm, mainly due to different color stimuli. Beautiful singing, moving melodies, and sweet words from a loved one can make people's emotions surge and their thoughts wander, while the sound of a shovel scraping against concrete, funeral music, and ferocious and malevolent shouting can make people feel fearful, irritable, and depressed, mainly due to different sound stimuli. When it is cold, muscles contract. When it is hot, sweat glands expand. Sleeping on a comfortable mattress feels good, while lying in a corner made of stone makes one uncomfortable. Beautiful spring scenery can make people feel ecstatic, while pitch darkness can make people feel frightened, mainly due to different reactions to temperature, texture, and brightness. The above are examples of how people respond to explicit stimuli from the external environment. Examples of how people respond to implicit stimuli are as follows. Sometimes people feel anxious or restless for no apparent reason. This is because of the thought waves or biological waves of people who are associated with them. From a perspective of hyperspace and time, when certain events are about to happen, there may be same frequency waves that stimulate people's nerves in advance. Just like the geomagnetic waves before an earthquake, many animals are sensitive to these waves, such as fish jumping out of the water, dogs barking, horses neighing, mice running around, and roosters crowing. Sometimes our ears get hot and our faces feel hot, which is a premonition of information related to us, just like the upcoming cold air current that stimulates people with arthritis. In Water Margin, Lin Chong, the head of the 800,000 Imperial Guard troop, seeking shelter at the mountain temple due to the snowstorm may seem like a coincidence, but it was actually a response to the events that were about to happen. Without this sensitivity, he would have been killed in the fire. In Robinson Crusoe, the protagonist describes a similar experience. After I had settled my affairs and sold my goods and turned them into reliable bills of exchange, the next difficult problem was which route to take back to England. I was accustomed to traveling by sea, but at this time, I had a strange aversion to going back to England by sea, even though I couldn't give a reason. This resistance in my mind kept growing stronger and stronger. One time, I even had my luggage loaded onto the ship, but suddenly changed my mind, and this happened 2 or 3 times in a row. It's true, I've had too many unfortunate events at sea in my lifetime, which could be one of the reasons, but in these situations, a person cannot completely ignore their inner impulse. There were 2 ships, and I had decided to board them, meaning that I had specifically chosen them. One of them had my luggage on it, and I had spoken with the captain of the other one, but I didn't end up boarding either of them. Later, these 2 ships encountered problems. One of them was captured by Algerians, and the other one sank at start near Tobago Bay, with only 3 survivors out of the entire crew. Regardless of which ship I boarded, I would have had bad luck. As for which ship was unluckier, that's hard to say. This is a kind of sensing of implicit stimuli. Without this sensing, Robinson would have been buried at sea. Subconscious behavior is a kind of inexplicable, hard-to-explain sensing behavior. This sensing behavior has saved the lives of billions of people, but has also led tens of thousands of people to death. Someone has studied biological sensing. He divided 50 snails into 25 pairs and put each pair together. After some time, he wrote the same letters on the shells of each snail in each pair. He then took one snail from each pair to the United States and left the other one in Paris. Later, at a designated time, he stimulated the snail left in Paris with an electric current, and at the same time, the other snail in the pair that was taken to the United States also exhibited an electric current stimulation response. The snail in Paris had an electric current stimulation response because it was stimulated by the electric current. But why did the snail in the United States also have an electric current stimulation response when it was not stimulated by an electric current? It's because it sensed it, and its response was a subconscious behavior. Animals such as pigeons, dogs, and horses have a sense of their owner's whereabouts. After a pigeon is released, it can find its owner who has moved to a new location. If you put a dog in a box and take it a few hundred kilometers away before releasing it, it can accurately find its way back. There was an animal trainer named Duluth who could use mental suggestions to make animals perform. Once, he secretly commanded a dog in his mind, "Go to the piano and use your paws to hit the white keys." It was said that the dog obeyed without fail. Another time, upon everyone's request, he made two lions who had been friendly to each other for 3 years start to bite each other. Once, a researcher named Kerensky asked Duluth, "Since you can use mental suggestions, can you suggest that I do something?" Duluth agreed and told him to sit still without moving. Duluth picked up a piece of paper, quickly wrote a few words on it, covered it with his hand, and looked at Kerensky. Although Kerensky didn't feel anything special, he unconsciously scratched behind his right ear with his hand, and before he put his hand down, Duluth handed him the paper, which read, "Scratch behind your right ear." From the examples above, we can see that Kerensky involuntarily scratched behind his right ear without feeling anything special, which seems to be Kaczynski's personal behavior, but in fact, he faithfully carried out Duluth's instructions. The world-renowned psychic master Wolf Mason once had dinner with the famous founder of psychology, Sigmund Freud, at Einstein's residence in Vienna. During the dinner, Freud secretly conducted an experiment without saying a word. He merely gave Mason a telepathic command, instructing him to go to the bathroom and take a pair of tweezers from the mirror frame, and then pluck 3 beard hairs from Einstein's chin. After giving the silent command, Freud continued to eat and drink on his own, and the guests continued to chat and laugh as usual. Mason seemed to be completely unaware, but when the coffee arrived, Mason immediately stood up, went to the bathroom, took a pair of tweezers, walked to Einstein's side, bent down, gently lifted Einstein's chin, carefully plucked 3 hairs and placed them in front of Freud. Examples like this are numerous. All living beings in the vast world subconsciously execute commands. Our next action, the next sentence, may seem like individual behavior, but it is actually a response to explicit and implicit stimuli from the outside world. So, who are we taking orders from? According to the level of life, lower-level life senses the commands of higher-level life, and lower-energy life senses the commands of higher-energy life. This means that plants receive commands from animals, humans, celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Animals receive commands from humans, celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Humans receive commands from celestial beings, Buddhas, and gods. Celestial beings receive commands from Buddhas and gods. Buddhas receive commands from gods. Who do gods take orders from? Gods take orders from the greatest creator. The ultimate stimuli is the greatest creator. From the 40 pieces of evidence and 8 logical inferences above, we can no longer doubt the existence of the greatest creator. Since the greatest creator exists, what are the features of the greatest creator? 8 features of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Tsong Long and Ailian. The greatest creator is unique and exclusive. 万上帝是唯一的. The unity of opposites is a powerful tool for understanding the universe. All things in the world exist relatively, and losing one side also means losing the condition for the existence of the other. Yin and yang, positive and negative, interior and exterior, man and woman, male and female, masculine and feminine, rigidity and softness, glory and humiliation, clockwise and counterclockwise, with and without, tangible and intangible, birth and death, light and darkness, movement and stillness, strength and weakness, high and low, noble and humble, rich and poor, fortune and misfortune, merit and fault, gain and loss, advance and retreat, positive and negative, big and small, up and down, more and less, front and rear, left and right, truth and falsehood, good and evil, beauty and ugliness, fragrance and odor, immortal and mortal, Buddha and demon, God and ghost, material and spirit, heaven and hell, fairyland and the mortal world, and so on. They all rely on each other, coexist and prosper together. Even a piece of thin paper has a front and a back. If there is no front, there will be no back. If there is no back, there will be no front. However, the unity of opposites view cannot explain all phenomena, and there are exceptions to the law. In universality, there are peculiarities, and in commonality, there are individualities. There is also a neutral gender in addition to male and female. The golden mean, which is unbiased and impartial, is to seek the middle point between two extremes. The turning point for quantitative change or qualitative change is not unity of opposites but uniqueness. Wuji generates Taiji. Taiji generates the bipolarity. Wuji refers to the state when there was no substance in the universe and only energy existed. The intangible and invisible energy, when moving irregularly, formed an energy cluster or Taiji. To understand how Taiji is formed, you can try drinking all the milk in a flat-bottomed glass and leave the glass uncleaned for 12 hours. Then observe the shape and structure of the glass bottom. The first unconscious movement of Taiji has triggered the orderly movement of the entire energy, and with it, the time and space in the human sense appeared. This is how the bipolarity is generated, which is actually the phenomenon of material and non-material, tangible and intangible, following the principle of unity of opposites. The formation of the bipolarity can be understood as follows. The greater the energy, the less visible it is. The smaller the energy, the more visible it is. This is the key to the birth and formation of the universe. Lao Tzu's understanding of the great form has no contour refers to the energy cluster before the birth of the bipolarity, which is the Taiji. Mao Zedong thought is a kind of energy cluster that influences many people's lives and affects many people's words and deeds. But who can explain clearly what color and shape it is? I am discussing Taiji here, with the purpose of understanding it. Taiji originates from Wuji, and is born from the chaotic movement and collision of formless and shapeless energy. You can observe the disorderly movement of the molecules via a microscope. The original energy movement is just like the molecular movement. After the formation of Taiji energy cluster, orderly movement begins in the energy world. Invisible matter appears in areas with less energy, while invisible non-material gradually forms in areas with more energy. Just like a person, the physical body corresponds to areas with less energy, and the mind and soul correspond to areas with more energy. Thus, Taiji gave birth to bipolarity, which is tangible matter and intangible non-material. And from this emerged positive and negative, yin and yang, light and darkness, truth and falsehood, good and evil, and so on. And the universe and all phenomena came into being from Taiji and bipolarity. In the Bible, the Heavenly Father, and in the Quran, Allah is undoubtedly the creator of the universe, which is what the Chinese Taoist understanding of Taiji refers to, though under different names, they are essentially the same. This means that Taiji is the greatest creator, and the greatest creator is Taiji. Wuji produced Taiji, which then generated bipolarity, and everything in the universe comes from this bipolarity. The two sides of bipolarity are the unity of opposites. Though it comes from Taiji, the latter is unique and exclusive, but not unity of opposites. Therefore, the greatest creator is unique and has no opposite. The greatest creator is amorphous. Tu Sang Di Wu Ding Xing. God is Taiji, a conscious energy cluster that can take on any form since energy is formless. When energy enters the human body, it becomes a person. When energy enters flowers and plants, it becomes branches, leaves, and flowers. When energy enters a river, it becomes liquid. When energy enters a rock, it becomes solid. When energy enters the atmosphere, it becomes gas. According to Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, The formula for the formation of matter is m equals E/c superscript 2, where c is the speed of light, a constant, and E is energy, a variable. This means that energy is the only factor that forms matter. Without energy, there is no matter, no sun, moon, stars, mountains, rocks, rivers, flowers, trees, insects, fish, birds, or beasts, and likewise, there would be no humans. When matter disappears, it is transformed back into energy because the total energy of the universe is a constant that does not increase or decrease. Does the burning of a tree, an animal, a building, or a tank of liquefied gas mean that nothing exists anymore? No. They are all transformed back into energy. A seed, a fertilized egg, can grow and take shape by using energy. Without energy, everything is nothing. This is the basic principle of the birth of the universe. If we say that the greatest creator has a fixed form, it is completely wrong. The greatest creator has no fixed form because he is an energy cluster, but he can take any form. In other words, the entire world is the greatest creator. The greatest creator is neutral. 3上帝是中性的. The greatest creator is unique and exclusive. The greatest creator is neutral. Humans are divided into man and woman. Animals are divided into male and female. And plants are divided into stamen and pistil. Then what about the greatest creator? We absolutely cannot say that the greatest creator is man or woman, or male and female, or stamen and pistil. If we say that the greatest creator is male, there must be a female greatest creator that corresponds to the greatest creator, which destroys the uniqueness of the greatest creator. Using the two poles of the unity of the opposition cannot help us understand the greatest creator. That is to say, we cannot say that the greatest creator is true or false, good or evil, beautiful or ugly. Because if we say that the greatest creator is good, there must be an evil greatest creator that corresponds to the good one, which also destroys the uniqueness. Things have their own nature. Animals have their own animal nature. Humans have their own human nature. Buddhas have their own Buddha nature. And gods have their own divinity. So what kind of nature does the greatest creator belong to? The greatest creator does not have a nature, which means that the greatest creator does not have physicality, animality, humanity, Buddhahood, or godhood. Defining the greatest creator in any life realm is incorrect. Saying that someone has animality is certainly demeaning them. Saying that a Buddha has humanity is certainly demeaning the Buddha. Saying that a god has Buddhahood is certainly demeaning the god. Saying that the greatest creator has physicality, animality, humanity, Buddhahood, or godhood is definitely demeaning the greatest creator. Therefore, the greatest creator does not have a nature. Or it can be said that the greatest creator is neutral. Here, I have to talk about the Hare Krishna movement, here because it is related to the greatest creator. Krishna and Krishna consciousness come from the ancient wisdom scriptures of India and have been inherited by some spiritual masters. The most outstanding leader of the Hare Krishna movement is Saint Prabhupada. This movement has many brilliant insights and focuses on the spiritual aspect of human beings, rather than the material and physical aspect. Many of the things advocated by this movement are valuable and worth learning from. However, we must be clear about who Krishna is. According to many of Prabhupada's teachings, we know that Krishna is the supreme God of the universe, which is acceptable. But he also says that Krishna is the only one and the source of all sources. Who can be the only one? Who can be the source of all sources? Only the greatest creator is the only one and the source of all sources. This clearly indicates that Krishna is the greatest creator. So, is Krishna the real greatest creator? In the definition of God, in the teachings of the Krishna perception movement, Saint Prabhupada said, "When Krishna appeared on this earth, he had 16,108 wives, each of whom lived in a palace made of marble and decorated with jewels. The rooms were filled with furniture made of ivory and gold, and everywhere was magnificent." Is this the greatest creator? No, it is not. The greatest creator is neutral, neither male nor female. How could the greatest creator have 16,108 wives? Why not say that Krishna has 16,108 husbands? This is clearly a reflection of the idea of male superiority and female inferiority. Moreover, Why does the greatest creator have so many wives? What does licentious and unrighteous mean? Creating so many wives for the greatest creator with human thinking and physical desire, is it to praise or to blaspheme the greatest creator? Krishna's 16,108 wives live in palaces built of marble, studded with jewels, with rooms furnished with ivory and gold. This is simply the imposition of the will of ordinary people on the greatest creator. Marble, jewels, ivory, and gold are precious in the eyes of ordinary people. Does the greatest creator really like these things so much? In short, Krishna is not the greatest creator. The consciousness of Krishna is to love gods and achieve harmony and unity between spirituality and divinity. However, since Krishna is not the greatest creator but labeled as the greatest creator, Krishna consciousness is a dangerous consciousness that requires caution. The greatest creator is mysterious. For Sangdi Wu Ming, the greatest creator manages the universe with its spirit, which is the Tao that Laozi talked about in the Tao Te Ching. This spirit can also be understood as the consciousness and thinking of the greatest creator. Just as humans rely on blood to maintain vitality, the universe relies on the spirit, consciousness, and thinking of the greatest creator to maintain its vitality. Therefore, the spirit of the greatest creator is actually the blood of the universe, its life force. All movements of humans, including speaking, eating, sleeping, learning, working, and engaging in love affairs, are based on physiological instincts and human consciousness. Similarly, all movements of the universe, including the motion of celestial bodies, the maintenance of order in galaxies, and the cycle of life and death of all things in nature, are based on the laws of material motion and the consciousness of the greatest creator, which is his spirit. The greatest creator does not show himself to humans, but rather shows his spirit. The greatest creator has never directly interacted with humans or given any individual special revelations. The spirit of the greatest creator is present in every space and movement of matter in the universe, and it is also present in every one of us. It can be said that the greatest creator is with the universe, with all things, and with humans. Although the greatest creator is with us, we cannot see him. Why? Because the greatest creator has a feature, which is his mysteriousness. What does this mean? It means that the spirit of the greatest creator, consciousness, thinking, laws, Tao, blood, and life force, is an invisible, intangible, incomprehensible, indescribable, and indiscernible non-material and dark energy. This non-material and dark energy works imperceptibly and unconsciously, without any obvious image or sign. Although it seems non-existent, it is a kind of elusive objective reality, which is omnipresent, ever-present, meticulous, and precise. For example, the aging and death of the human body. Why does the human body have to age and die? What causes the aging and death of the human body? Whether scientists or biologists, politicians or religious leaders, they cannot fully explain the real reason. Why? Because of the characteristics of the greatest creator, mysterious. In the primary physical and spiritual healthcare section of the Lifechanuan, I mentioned that the causes of human aging and death, in order of their destructive power, are mental activities caused by 7 emotions and 6 desires, diet, daily life, labor, wind, frost, cold and heat, air quality, noise, cosmic forces, geomagnetism, gravity, radiation, various rays, and waves, etc. Every time you get angry, every time you get excited, every emotional change, every moment of sorrow, every puff of a cigarette, every sip of alcohol, every inappropriate diet, every staying up late or insomnia, every excessive fatigue, every cold wave or heat wave, storm or frost, every breath of polluted air, every unpleasant sound heard, every activity of sunspots, every volcanic eruption and earthquake, every nuclear leakage or bomb explosion, every sandstorm that covers the sky, and so on, all contribute to the aging and death of the human body. Most people will agree with my explanation, but through what channels and mechanisms do these factors change the structure of human growth? Most people don't understand it. Why? Because of the characteristics of the greatest creator, mysterious. The greatest creator is mysterious. The greatest creator only shows results, not processes. Why? Because once everyone understands the process of how things operate, everyone will become a god, and even want to compete with the greatest creator. This is a bit like the meetings held by the Central Political Bureau, where ministers, governors, and ordinary people are only informed about the results of the meeting and what they should know according to their level, not the process of the meeting. If the common people were aware of the political bureau meeting process, the world would have descended into chaos long ago. So, is the greatest creator too selfish and stingy? No, absolutely not. The greatest creator does not allow us to know everything, and this is precisely the embodiment of the greatest creator's mercy. Imagine if someone were to immediately tell the parents and relatives of a newborn child how the child will grow and eventually drown at the age of 15 while swimming in a river. What consequences would this have? Of course, the greatest creator does not prevent people from understanding the process of how things operate and change. In fact, the greatest creator shows all the mysteries without reservation to human beings. Some people can understand a little, while others do not understand at all. The key depends on each person's spirituality and wisdom. The purer the spirituality and the higher the wisdom, the more one can see and understand, whereas confusion and ignorance increase with a mixed spirituality and lower wisdom. For example, when an apple falls to the ground, this phenomenon is impartially demonstrated to everyone by nature. But how many people can understand what law or principle this phenomenon indicates? Only Newton saw the law of universal gravitation from it. Many people have ridden elevators, but how many people have deeply pondered what would happen if the elevator, without cable restraint, continuously increased the required energy? The elevator would continue to accelerate, and as a result, its mass would increase. To make the elevator eventually exceed the speed of light, infinite energy would be required, which is impossible from a material perspective without involving non-material. Therefore, Einstein derived the famous equation E equals mc squared, the mass-energy equivalence, which destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We have all experienced warmth by the fire, or seen objects burn red hot, or have had the experience of a hot stove heating our face while cooking in the kitchen. But how many people realized the theory of quantum mechanics from it? Only Max Planck realized it. Most people have sat under a big tree, but only Sakyamuni sat under a big tree and explored the 36-dimensional spaces with his consciousness and knew the Buddha land and path to Buddhahood. The greatest creator treats all members of humanity equally, regardless of whether you are white, black, or yellow. Whether you are a king, an expert, or an ordinary person. Whether you are rich, middle class, or poor. Whether you are a Muslim, a Buddhist, or a Christian. The greatest creator gives everyone the same opportunities and rights. Open the windows, the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view. You will see the faraway mountains fresh and green. Regardless of who you are, as long as you open the window of your soul and focus your vision on a more distant future, you can see the brilliance of the greatest creator from any natural phenomenon around you, and you will gain this supreme, great awakening wisdom. The greatest creator is impartial. 5. 上帝公正. The greatest creator is unique and exclusive, amorphous and neutral. Therefore, the greatest creator is impartial. If a court is controlled by good people, bad people will suffer. If it is controlled by bad people, good people will suffer. If it is controlled by the proletariat, the bourgeoisie will suffer. If it is controlled by the bourgeoisie, the proletariat will suffer. If it is controlled by gods, the devil will be constrained. If it is controlled by the devil, gods will be suppressed. Only neutrality, without bias, is the most just. The sun shines on the earth without favoring certain individuals, but equally shines on everyone. The air is full of the earth, and good people and bad people can breathe freely. There is sufficient water on earth, allowing you, me, and everyone to obtain water, which is crucial for life, at the lowest possible cost. This is how fair and just it is. If the greatest creator is not impartial and did not arrange for the sun, air, and water resources this way, some people would surely monopolize them, just as they do with land and mines. Would we have a way out then? Another aspect of the greatest creator's impartiality is that everyone, regardless of who they are, must die. If those in power never died and could live forever, would there be any hope for the poor? Therefore, any idea or action that seeks to extend the lifespan of some individuals and allow them to live forever goes against the impartiality of the greatest creator and is doomed to fail. Humans try to eliminate diseases such as cholera, typhoid, smallpox, plague, cancer, etc., which is simply messing around, doing bad things with good intentions, and making trouble for the greatest creator. If you eliminate one disease, the greatest creator has to create another. AIDS, SARS, and other special airborne diseases. Let's see who is more capable, humans or the greatest creator. Because otherwise, the earth can no longer bear it. Imagine if diseases did not eliminate some people, and everyone who had ever lived on earth was still alive today. Would there be enough space for us to live? It's like a beautiful park. Those who enter must eventually leave so that newcomers can also come in and enjoy the park. If you don't want to leave once you've entered, and everyone thinks that way, can the park accommodate everyone? Is it fair to those who come later? Some people always hope that good people will get more than evil people and hope that the greatest creator will send all evil people to hell. If this does not happen, they believe that the greatest creator is unjust. This naive idea is purely emotional. Few people think of themselves as evil or unkind. In fact, as long as you are human, you are evil. Killing animals and eating their meat, isn't that evil? When you slaughter animals, you are indifferent to their helpless screams, helpless protests, fear of separation from their loved ones, and you use a sharp knife to insert it into their chest or cut their throat. To animals, you are definitely not a kind person. Eating meat is no different from participating in slaughter. Eating meat itself is an unkind behavior. Why do Buddhists not eat meat? It is to reduce the chance of committing sins to enter a higher level of life after death. Those who eat meat are not kind. Perhaps some people think that the pig was raised by themselves, so it is reasonable to slaughter and eat its meat. Really? Can you arbitrarily kill your own children because you raised them? Does this reasoning make sense? Note, I am discussing issues such as eating meat from the perspective of equality of life and becoming a Buddha. I am not against eating meat. I also eat meat, which means that I am not a kind person either. Not eating meat is a kind behavior, and we advocate vegetarianism. However, if everyone refuses to eat meat and everyone becomes a Buddha, it violates the cycle of life. Humans exist on Earth for a purpose, and humans are a link in the chain of life. Without this link, many living spaces will have no successors and will eventually tend to end. Hell will no longer exist, and heaven will lose its value of existence. If there are no people in the world, the fairy world will also disappear. If everyone were to follow the practices of Buddhists, refraining from eating meat, avoiding marriage, and abstaining from reproduction, humanity would face the risk of dying out. This is not the greatest creator's arrangement for life. By the way, believing in Buddhism is definitely correct and has a bright future, but is it correct not to get married and have children? Is it contrary to the greatest creator's purpose? In the history of Buddhism, whenever Buddhism flourishes, there is always a destructive blow that follows. Why? For thousands of years, Buddhism has only been able to maintain its survival, but not spread globally. The main reason is not that Buddhist principles is not understandable, but that the method of cultivation is problematic. Here, we have to talk about Falun Gong. As a method of Buddhist cultivation, Falun Gong itself is not wrong. There are 84,000 methods of cultivation, and Falun Gong is one of them. It is commendable that ordinary people like the method of Falun Gong as a way of Buddhist cultivation. This shows that the Chinese people are actively pursuing goodness and progress. Li Hongzhi's ability to stimulate the public's enthusiasm for Buddhism is immeasurable, and he and Zhang Hongbao can both be regarded as spiritual masters. The problem is that when the method of cultivation is confused with Buddhist teachings and Falun Gong is elevated to the status of Dafa, it violates Buddhist teachings. What is Buddhist teaching? Shakyamuni said in the Diamond Sutra, "What is called the Buddha Dharma is not the Buddha Dharma." He also said, "The Tathagata says that all dharmas are Buddha's dharmas." If someone says that the Tathagata has expounded dharmas, he is slandering the Buddha because he cannot understand my teaching. He also said, "Do not abide our minds to dharmas, but to actually abide nowhere." This clearly teaches us that to understand Buddhist teachings, we must first give up the Dharma. We cannot be attached to Dharma. The Dharma of no Dharma is the Buddhist teaching, and the Dharma with a Dharma is not the Buddhist teaching. Falun Gong is correct, but Dafa is wrong because it clings to the Dharma, and the Dharma is no longer the true Buddhist teaching. What is Dharma? The Dharma is the order or objective rules by which the greatest creator manages the universe and the effective operation of life. The formulas in physics, the molecular formulas in chemistry, the equations in mathematics, the structural formulas in biology, and the causal formulas in life science are all Dharma laws. All Dharma are Buddhist teachings, and all Dharma are designed and created by the greatest creator. Master Li Hongzhi said in his lecture at the Western U.S. Law Conference in Los Angeles on February 15, 2003, "Have I explained it clearly in human terms? The Dharma was created by me. All prehistoric life was created by the Dharma, and no one is an exception, and everyone is among them. Innumerable and countless great domes, innumerable and countless celestial spaces. Each space has countless lives, all of which are created by this Dharma, and no life can comment on the Dharma. This is a bit too far-fetched. The Dharma itself was created by the greatest creator, and now Master Li says that he created the Dharma. Does that mean Li Hongzhi is the greatest creator? Is the greatest creator Li Hongzhi? There is only one greatest creator in the universe. Either it is the greatest creator or Li Hongzhi, one of them must be. If Li Hongzhi is the greatest creator, does he possess the 8 features of being unique and exclusive, amorphous, neutral, mysterious, impartial, merciful, supremely powerful, and intelligent? Humans cannot defeat the greatest creator. If Li Hongzhi is the greatest creator, can Falun Gong suffer such a calamity? If even the land where they live cannot sustain them, how can he see himself as the greatest creator? The greatest creator is amorphous and manages the entire universe. It is impossible for him to come to Earth as a human and struggle for survival. Li Hongzhi was born in this world and has a clear historical record spanning several decades. Can he be the greatest creator? The greatest creator has never had a direct conversation with humans, but how many words has Li Hongzhi spoken to humans? The greatest creator is mysterious and unfathomable, but everything about Li Hongzhi is clear and transparent. Can he be the greatest creator? The greatest creator knows everything. But does Li Hongzhi know everything? It's doubtful, especially considering his inability to answer questions posed by scientists. Even basic questions from high school physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, and other fields may be beyond his knowledge. Therefore, can he be the greatest creator? Li Hongzhi is a spiritual master with unique insights into the universe and life. However, if he goes beyond a certain range, there will inevitably be a backlash. There are many hidden talents and reclusive masters among humans. Some people live in seclusion, appear to be ordinary citizens, but possess extraordinary talents and ambition. Some people are silent and seemingly foolish, but in reality have exceptional wisdom and insight. Some people appear to be mediocre and ignorant, but have a deep understanding of the laws of the universe and the true meaning of life. They are like the Tao, hidden and not revealed, but will help turn the tide and support the collapsing building in critical times. In short, the greatest creator is fair and just, and the prosperity or decline of every individual, organization, and nation is determined by the balance of the greatest creator. Only by abandoning one's ego can one perceive the impartiality of the greatest creator. If one sees oneself as the center of everything and judges the greatest creator based on one's own likes, dislikes, successes, and failures, they will not be able to see the justice of the greatest creator. No matter how they look at it, they will not be able to see even a glimpse of the greatest creator. The greatest creator is merciful. 6. 上帝仁慈. Given the suffering that humanity endured during World War II, some people asserted, the greatest creator is dead. This is an insult and blasphemy against the greatest creator. To understand the greatest creator using human emotions is like a blind man feeling an elephant. Judging features of the greatest creator based solely on human life and death, violation, adversity, and poverty is like a mouse being the judge of humanity in court. Can we think that the greatest creator is unkind when we see a hard-working old mother suffering from illness and being bedridden before passing away? Can we conclude that the greatest creator is unkind when a kind and honest person suffers throughout their life? Some people are born into a life of luxury without having good morals, and yet can easily gain power and wealth. They might even behave like thieves and prostitutes or harm innocent people, but still die peacefully and receive grand funerals. Can we declare that the greatest creator favors the wicked and is unkind to the good? No. The greatest creator is merciful. To understand the mercifulness of the greatest creator, we cannot measure it based solely on human standards of right and wrong. We must recognize it from the perspective of time and space, the cycle of life, and the level of spirituality. From the Universe, Time and Space chapter of Chanyuan Corpus, we know that there are 36-dimensional spaces in the universe, and life circulates in the heaven world, Elysium world, cathode black hole body, the 10,000-year world, the 1,000-year world, mortal world, anode black hole body, livestock world, animal world, plant world, the insect world and bacteria world form the other two life systems, the nether world, frozen layer, and inflamed layer. Humans live in the middle world, the human world. Humans have lower spirituality than gods, Buddhas, and celestials, but higher spirituality than livestock, animals, and plants. The level of spirituality decreases progressively from the heaven world to the plant world. For example, gods know everything in the universe, Buddhas know everything about the celestial land, the human world, the animal world, and the plant world, but not the heaven world. Celestials only know everything about the human world, the animal world, and the plant world, but not the Elysium world or the heaven world. Humans only know about the animal and plant worlds, but are unclear about the celestial world, the 1,000-year world and the 10,000-year world, the Buddha's world, the Elysium world, and the God's world, the heavenly world. Animals know about the plant world, but are not clear about other life spaces. While plants are the most ignorant of all life and have little understanding of the universe, only going along with the flow of nature and accepting whatever comes their way. From God's perspective, humans are ignorant. From Buddha's perspective, humans are evil. From celestial beings' perspective, humans are short-sighted and stupid. From mankind's own perspective, humans are both good and evil but wise. From animals' perspective, humans are unimaginable and horrible. From plants' perspective, humans are wonderful and great. Human ignorance manifests in not knowing where they come from or where they are going, living their whole lives confused and unsure, and pursuing things they shouldn't while neglecting what they should. They don't know why they live or how they die. Human evil manifests in mutual killing, oppression, disrespect of gods and Buddhas, pride and arrogance, hunting and killing wild animals, and polluting rivers and oceans. If the greatest creator were not merciful, how could we be allowed to behave recklessly in the earth home he created for us? Human genetic engineering, which is currently underway, is a great and remarkable undertaking from a human perspective, with unlimited bright prospects. However, from the perspective of the greatest creator's order, this is an extremely dangerous and evil practice, and someday humanity will pay a heavy price for it. If the greatest creator were not merciful, he would not send warnings and admonitions to humanity. Imagine if we had a few dogs at home, and they had learned how to unlock our bedroom door. What would happen then? Human foolishness and short-sightedness manifest in focusing only on immediate and personal interests, rather than long-term and collective interests. People would rather spend time and effort making money or having fun than exploring the meaning of life, resulting in decades of fleeting happiness but losing thousands of years of good life. It's like the truth that everyone understands. If everyone is honest, the world is a paradise. However, everyone tries to be clever and hopes others are honest, but exempts themselves, resulting in few truly honest people in humanity. Everyone is smart, but being too smart causes problems, making life messy and losing the bright future. Now let's answer the 3 questions raised earlier. What is the meaning of the suffering of a hard-working mother who has to endure years of bedridden illness before she passes away? An ambitious, courageous, and wise boss knows that in order to promote and value an employee, he must first let him experience various business aspects of the company, make him endure hardships that others cannot bear, and make them tolerate things that others cannot tolerate, cultivate his virtue of selfless dedication, and only then can he be entrusted with important tasks. The stricter the boss's requirements, the higher the future rewards. Mao Zedong made his son work as a farmer, then as a worker in a factory, and finally sent him to Korea to fight in a war. Why? To let him suffer first, understand the situation of the people, and finally have the hope of taking over his position and becoming a wise king. Smart parents know that if they want their children to succeed, they cannot let them have everything they want. Excessive indulgence and pampering in childhood can only lead to regrets in adolescence and old age. In the eyes of the greatest creator, humans are only in their youth. Let us endure some suffering and hardship in order to go to a better place after death, the thousand-year world. At the very least, let us return to the human world, have the opportunity to cultivate ourselves through practice, and eventually reach the thousand-year world. Wise people see the greatest creator as a kind father, and this is the reason. From a human emotional perspective, allowing a hardworking mother to suffer again before her death is unkind and merciless. However, from the greatest creator's perspective, it can be seen as great kindness and benevolence. If the mother's efforts go to waste, that would be truly cruel. When President Kennedy's father refused to let someone save his son from drowning in the river, in the eyes of ordinary people, it was an inhumane act. However, old Kennedy was cultivating a future U.S. president, and how many people have such vision and foresight? The meaning of making an honest and kind person suffer for a lifetime is not different from the above. The United States has many regulations in its immigration policy. You are only eligible to live in the United States if you meet these requirements. If you want to become a professor at prestigious universities like Harvard and Cambridge, you must have certain qualifications and experience. Even if you manage to fake your way in, standing in front of clear-minded students and speaking with a mouth full of common mistakes and illogical reasoning, you will be driven out of the school within 3 days. An outstanding family does not allow their descendants to marry randomly, and a pure organization does not easily accept new members. The thousand-year world is a pure land and cannot allow someone who emits a foul stench to enter, just as no one would allow dog feces and chicken droppings in their living room. Making a kind and honest person suffer throughout their life is meant to cultivate their character so they can obtain qualifications to enter the thousand-year world. God Jesus said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of the greatest creator. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you shall be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh." Why? God said, "Because the kingdom of the greatest creator is yours." Buddha said, "If a virtuous man or woman receives, holds in mind, reads and recites this sutra and is despised by others, this person who is bound to suffer from evil destinies in retribution for his past sins, and whose karmic sins are now eradicated by the other's contempt, will attain supreme enlightenment." Lao Tzu said, "Misery, happiness is to be found by its side." To bestow a positive gift upon someone, you must initially extract something from them. The greatest creator makes a kind and honest person suffer throughout their life with good intentions, so how can we complain about it? Letting a person enjoy a life of indulgence and pleasure may seem good, but in reality, it depletes your good fortune. The more you gain, the more you lose. It is a common understanding that the higher you rise, the harder you fall. The steeper the climb, the more disastrous the fall. Everything in the universe is a unity of opposites, and what is gained and lost ultimately evens out. The more you lose, the more you gain, and the less you gain, the less you lose. A religion in India advocates asceticism, not because they are ignorant, but because they understand this principle. Rockefeller, who became rich through the oil business, donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charity, leaving only a small amount for himself. A testament to his wisdom rather than foolishness. Kung Fu star Jet Li donated the money he earned from endorsements to Buddhism, not because he had too much money to spend. They have realized the Tao and become wise. Who says the greatest creator is not merciful? If all humanity believes that the greatest creator does not exist, then humanity itself ceases to exist. The reason for humanity's existence is that there are still many people who devoutly believe in and worship the greatest creator. It is for their sake that the greatest creator allows us to continue to exist on earth and hopes that we can repent and follow the path of the greatest creator. In this respect, the greatest creator is very merciful. The greatest creator is supremely powerful. 7. 上帝是超能的. The entire universe is a collection of various energies, and within this energy collection, there is an energy cluster. The relationship between the collection and the energy cluster is like that between the egg white and yolk of an egg. Within this energy cluster, yolk, is a small energy embryo, and within this embryo is an even smaller nucleus. This nucleus is the central nervous system of the universe, the consciousness of energy, the thinking area of the universe, which is the greatest creator. Energy itself does not have consciousness or awareness. The huge energy released by an atomic bomb can kill both bad people and good people, destroy the palace of a king, and level the hut of an ordinary person because energy is unconscious. Energy is incredibly powerful, but even more powerful is thinking. That is to say, the minds of the scientists who made the atomic bomb are more powerful than the atomic bomb itself. The small nucleus in the energy cluster, the central nervous system of the universe, the greatest creator, is more powerful than the total energy of the universe. Therefore, the greatest creator is supremely powerful, beyond energy. 8. 上帝是智慧的. The greatest creator is intelligent. The greatest creator's superior wisdom is mainly manifested in the following three aspects. Establishing the order of the universe. The order of the universe mainly reflects in 1. The orderly operation of macroscopic celestial bodies, such as spiral galaxies, elliptical galaxies, the Milky Way galaxy, star systems, and so on. 2. The order of the structure of microscopic matter, such as the orderly movement of molecules, atoms, electrons, protons, nucleons, mesons, hyperons, and quarks. 3. The order of the cycle of life, such as when a person's spirituality reaches a certain level, they can become an immortal or a Buddha. When their spirituality declines to a certain degree, they can become a dog, a pig, a tree, etc. If a person's spirituality does not rise or fall during their lifetime, they can continue to be reincarnated as a human. Similarly, according to the rise and fall of their spirituality, a cow can become a human or other animals, and a celestial can either become a Buddha or a human. Designing the structure of life. The structure of life mainly refers to various genetic codes. Genes are like unexposed photographic negatives that can be copied repeatedly. The genetic codes, negatives, of different organisms are different. For example, human genes are different from pig genes, cat genes are different from bird genes, willow genes are different from peach genes, and rose genes are different from peony genes. Generally speaking, genes have the characteristic of being compatible with the same type and repulsive to different types. For example, the genes of people of different races such as Asian, black, and white belong to the same type and are compatible with each other, so they can intermarry and have children. However, the genes of humans, animals, and plants belong to different types and are repulsive to each other. Therefore, humans, animals, and plants cannot mate and reproduce offspring. Even if they mate, they cannot give birth to any life forms. Cows, sheep, dogs, cats, pigs, chickens, tigers, leopards, deer, mice, snakes, otters, etc. are all animals, but their genes are of different types, so they cannot mate and reproduce offspring. However, a small number of life forms have similar genetic structures, such as humans and apes, horses and donkeys, wolves and dogs, chickens and peacocks, and apple trees and pear trees, which can be crossbred or grafted. However, the offspring are not in the same form as their parents, and they cannot reproduce. For example, the offspring of a human and an ape is a wild man, who is sterile. The offspring of a horse and a donkey is a mule, which is also sterile. The offspring of a wolf and a dog is a hybrid, or coy dog, but the hybrid is also sterile, and the offspring of a chicken and a peacock is a phoenix, which is also sterile. Apple trees and pear trees can be grafted onto each other and grow apple pears, but the seeds of apple pears cannot reproduce, and so on. Although humans and monkeys have similar physical forms, their genetic structures are different, so humans and monkeys cannot mate. Even if they do, they cannot produce anything. This is why humans did not evolve from monkeys, and of course, we cannot say that monkeys degenerated from humans. A fertilized egg that can only be seen under a microscope can eventually develop into a tangible life form with a head, feet, eyes, nose, hair, eyebrows, skin, nails, heart, and blood vessels. This is the result of the greatest creator's superior wisdom. Human hair can grow indefinitely, but eyebrows and eyelashes stop growing after reaching a certain length. Why? Because if they grow too long, they will affect the vision and hinder the activity of the organism. From fetus to adulthood, the development of life forms is strictly proportional, which is also the design of the greatest creator. Otherwise, if the left leg grows to 1 meter long and the right leg has not yet developed, the head has already formed, and the ears are still not visible, wouldn't it be a monster? Or if the heart has already started working and the development of blood vessels has not yet begun, wouldn't the heart suffocate? In fact, mechanical engineers, architects, etc. are also designers of genes. The mechanical drawings they design and the construction drawings they design for machinery, buildings, bridges, etc. are a kind of genetic structure. Based on these genetic structures, workers can create real machines, buildings, bridges, etc. Any action of workers is carried out within the scope of the genetic structure drawing. If the number of floors designed for a building is 5, workers cannot build a 6-story building. Even the size, position, materials used for windows, how wires run, and where pipes are installed are all clearly specified in the construction drawing, which is a genetic structure. Evolutionists believe that humans evolved from monkeys, monkeys evolved from insects, and insects evolved from single-celled organisms. Birds evolved from land animals, and land animals evolved from aquatic animals. This is like saying that airplanes evolved from buildings, and buildings evolved from Swiss mechanical watches. Knowing the past and future, Great Mentor Chairman Mao Zedong predicted the future development of more than 20 things in his lifetime, and the outcome of the development and changes of these things basically matched his predictions. Why? Because Mao Zedong was a wise person. Anyone who can predict the future development of one or several things is a wise person. The higher the wisdom, the more accurate the prediction of the future development and changes of things. Scientists are wise people because all human creations and inventions are guided by human wisdom. Any activity without wisdom is inevitably a mess and a chaotic state. A country with everything in order, balanced development, and people living and working in peace and contentment must have a wise advisory group at its leadership. If the people complain, the criminals are rampant, then the leadership of this country must have a brain without wisdom. A family that cannot cultivate an accomplished person even after 3 generations is a family without wisdom. A person who spends his whole life in poverty, unable to seize any opportunity, and with no distinction between the importance of his daily activities, is definitely a person without wisdom. Some people can see opportunities from the change of national leaders, the trend and direction of future development from every new policy introduced by the country, and adjust their activity goals accordingly. Such people are wise. Some people can see the essence of things from a phenomenon and know the time of qualitative change from the speed of quantitative change. Such people are highly wise. Zhuge Liang is such a person, and his memorial on sending out the troops and borrowing the east wind are clear evidence. Everything in the universe operates according to laws and regulations. Whether it's the movement of celestial bodies, the growth of life, the changes of time, or the variations of human society, nothing can escape the constraints of the laws. Those who understand the laws of motion and change of things can predict the future. Humanity can now predict the timing of solar and lunar eclipses hundreds of years in advance, determine the heavenly stems and earthly branches, as well as the 5 elements of a specific day tens of millions of years into the future. We can forecast changes in weather and fluctuations in temperature weeks ahead and understand that it takes 18 years for a newborn to grow into a young adult. Skilled doctors can roughly estimate the date of a patient's death based on their symptoms, and some people with special talents can calculate a person's lifespan, just like the Taoist, who told Mao Zedong the numbers 99 and 8,341. Everything in the universe is related to cause and effect, is inevitable, and follows certain laws. All things have a set fate, a beginning and an end. Therefore, the more wisdom one has, the more one understands the mysteries of the universe. The greatest creator knows everything about the past and future of all things in the universe, while gods and demons know the operation and changes of the vast majority of things, and Buddhas know the past and future of human beings. Due to the limitation of genetic structure, Humans can never reach the level of knowing everything. Just like the decimal places of pi, humans will never know where the decimal ends, whether it is infinite or finite, cyclic or non-cyclic. Although humans can never reach the level of wisdom of the greatest creator, they can reach the level of wisdom of gods and Buddhas. The problem is that when we reach the level of wisdom of gods and Buddhas, we cannot be human anymore, nor do we want to be human. Ordinary people seek to survive, but with the wisdom of gods and Buddhas, we no longer seek survival, but instead seek death. Life has become meaningless, and death becomes the only thing that matters. If we die well, we can go to the world of the thousand-year world. If we die badly, we will suffer in the next life. The happiness and joy of human beings lie in ignorance and naivety. Once we have knowledge, suffering and trouble will follow, and the happiness and joy as humans will no longer evoke any enthusiasm, and we will realize that life is a tragedy, just like a person seeing a deer happily bouncing around, surrounded by wolves, worms, tigers, and leopards. The deer can only feel happy and joyful because of its ignorance. If it knew the various dangers it faced, it would never be happy again. As human beings, no matter how happy and joyful the life of a deer may seem, we will never want to become a deer, just as the gods and Buddhas will never want to become human beings, unless this human being comes from a higher level of life space, with a special mission. 上帝与人类的八大关系 8 relationships between the greatest creator and human beings. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Tsong Long and Ailian. Humanity has direct or indirect relationships with all things in the universe, and the relationship with the greatest creator is the most important among all relationships. This relationship directly relates to the life and death of humanity and also relates to the future of every person. There are 8 major relationships between the greatest creator and humanity. Relationship of appearance. The greatest creator has no fixed form. He can become any form. Human form is designed according to the form of the gods in heaven. In other words, human appearance is similar to that of gods, but not to that of the greatest creator. Relationship of wisdom. The greatest creator created the gods of heaven himself. Humans are not created directly by the greatest creator. The first group of human beings created by gods were the African blacks and the American Indians. The Egyptians and the European whites were the second group of human beings created by gods. The Asian yellow race, with the Chinese nation as the core, came from the Pure Land, the Elysium world, and are a variation of the dragon, followers of the evil god. They are the third group of human beings on Earth, so the ancestors of the yellow race are not human beings. Adam and Eve are the ancestors of the Israelites and most people in the Middle East. They were created by another god in the mysterious Garden of Eden. In terms of wisdom, human wisdom can never reach the wisdom of the greatest creator. Only gods can understand the wisdom of the greatest creator. If the white and black races can cultivate to a high level, they can understand the wisdom of the gods. The yellow race itself carries the genes of celestials and Buddhas. If they can understand the truth and see their nature, they can have the wisdom of celestials and Buddhas. The Israelites and most people in the Middle East have both. Relationship of affiliation. Humanity does not directly belong to the management of the greatest creator. The gods of heaven are directly managed by the greatest creator. Humanity is managed by one god, but is always hindered and destroyed by another god. Since the gods are unified in opposition, the two types of gods are evenly matched, and neither can defeat the other. Therefore, human society can never achieve a perfect state and can never be peaceful. Human hearts are always seeking balance and support in the conflicting and contradictory forces of good and evil, beauty and ugliness, truth and falsehood. For example, one god created Adam and Eve, while another god immediately planted a so-called tree of wisdom in the Garden of Eden to lure them into eating from it. By eating the fruit from that tree, Adam and Eve's thought patterns were changed to be able to oppose the God who created them. The God who created them was aware of the other God's scheme and warned Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree, but ultimately, they couldn't resist the temptation and followed the other God's path. In anger, the God who created them expelled them from the Garden of Eden. The God who truly cares about humanity is referred to as the God of light, while the opposite is referred to as the God of darkness. Jesus represents the God of light, while Satan represents the God of darkness. The God of light cares about humanity's fate and destiny, seeking to lead people to pursue truth, goodness, and beauty, so they can achieve mental freedom and happiness, as well as physical freedom and pleasure. Buddha clearly understood the human situation in the competition between the gods of light and darkness and taught his disciples to give up worldly life and pursue transcendence, freeing themselves from the gods of light and darkness and reaching the Pure Land directly. On the surface, the god of darkness appears to be very concerned about humanity, but in essence, he is only interested in making people pursue material possessions, such as money, power, status, beauty, fame, success, and being superior to others. He does everything in his power to keep people preoccupied with immediate interests, leaving them little time for deep contemplation, ultimately preventing the God of Light's plan from being realized. Therefore, in essence, the God of Darkness does not really care about humanity. He leads people astray from the true purpose of life. The cause and effect relationship. Although the greatest creator does not directly manage humanity, he is well aware of humanity's current state and future. He is also aware of the love-hate relationship between the gods of light and darkness. The God of light wants to bring perpetual light to the world, while the God of darkness wants to bring perpetual darkness. However, perpetual light and perpetual darkness will destroy the universe's unity of opposites, so it can only be half and half. The greatest creator's concern for humanity is expressed through the causal relationships he has set up, orders, and procedures. First, he has given humans a certain degree of free will, allowing them to freely choose between light and darkness. What the greatest creator gives us is exactly what we ask for, and our current situation is entirely what we deserve. The greatest creator has neither taken anything away from us nor added anything to us. We are walking on the path set by the greatest creator. For example, Adam and Eve had the choice to eat or not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They could have chosen not to eat and continued to enjoy endless happiness in the Garden of Eden, or they could have eaten and been banished from the garden and had to survive by their own labor. Similarly, if we find an injured rabbit on the road, it is up to us how to treat it. We can ignore it, neither helping nor harming it, and continue on our journey. The result of this choice is that when we are injured and need help from others, no one will come to help us, but no one will harm us either. If we pick up the injured rabbit, give it appropriate care, and release it back into the wild, then we are protecting a life, and what we gain is the extension and sublimation of life. However, if we take advantage of the rabbit's vulnerability, catch it and skin it for cooking, what we gain will be the shortening and devaluation of life. How we treat other things, they will repay us in an equivalent way. How we treat God, God will treat us the same way. How we treat the greatest creator, the greatest creator will repay us with something of equivalent value. We will receive in proportion to what we give, and what we receive will always be proportional to what we have given. In general, what we long for will come to us. If we are determined to seek money, money will come to us. If we concentrate on seeking power, we will gain power. If we search for prostitutes, they will come to find us. If we obsess over ghosts, they will appear before us. If we seek Buddha, Buddha will come to guide us. As long as we are focused and persistent, what we hope for will definitely be obtained. Many people yearn for something but fail to achieve their expected goals. This is not due to any problems with the greatest creator's order or procedures, but rather because of our indecisiveness, wavering minds, lack of conviction, or impatience. For example, some people want to become writers but can't stand the loneliness and temporary poverty that come with it. They switch their goals constantly, wanting to start a company, become a government official, or study the function of horsetails. This leaves the greatest creator and the gods and demons unsure whether to help them become a writer or a business owner, and ultimately, they achieve neither. I remember a fable from my elementary school textbook called The Kitten Who Went Fishing. A kitten went fishing with an old cat, who sat quietly by the lake and caught many fish. The kitten, however, looked around and saw a dragonfly flying by, so he put down his fishing rod to catch the dragonfly. Then, he saw a butterfly and put down the rod again to catch it. He ended up busy all day but didn't catch any dragonflies, butterflies, or fish. This is not the greatest creator being unfair, but rather a lack of clarity on what one truly needs. Therefore, if you want to be a cheat, don't talk about conscience. If you want to be a robber, don't talk about kindness. If you seek Buddha, do not kill. If you want to transcend the mundane world and become a celestial, do not pursue worldly fame and fortune. If you want to accumulate wealth, you must value money over people. If you want to engage in politics, you cannot do so without buying people's hearts. If you want to do charity, don't seek personal gain. If you want to pursue academia, you must endure loneliness and solitude. If you want to secure personal gain, don't care about principles and relationships. If you want to flatter and please others, don't be afraid of being exposed, and you must have a thick skin. If you want to be a general, don't fear the bloodshed of soldiers. If you want to stay healthy, you must learn to take care of yourself. If you want to improve your life quality, you must practice self-cultivation. If you don't want to go to jail, stay away from crime. If you don't want to be reborn as an animal in the next life, you must have humanity and not act recklessly and maliciously. If you want to enter the 1,000-year world after death, you must acquire perfect humanity in your limited life stage. If you want to be born in the 10,000-year world, you must perceive, pursue, and attain the Tao. If you want to enter the Pure Land, you must quickly worship Buddha, perceive the nature of your mind, and transcend the realm of desires, forms, and formlessness. If you don't want to go to the netherworld, you must do more good and less evil. If you don't want to go to the frozen layer, don't deceive, swindle, or harm the innocent. If you don't want to go to the inflamed layer, don't kill without reason. As you sow, so shall you reap. If you plant sesame, you cannot expect to harvest watermelon. If you scatter grass seeds, you cannot expect to reap crops. Good begets good, evil begets evil. No deed goes unrewarded, but the timing may not be immediate. When the time comes, it will surely be repaid. If we do not receive retribution in this life, we will in the next. The greatest creator is fair and impartial and gives us corresponding results based on our own choices and actions. Our past is our present, and our present is our future. This is the cause and effect relationship between us and the greatest creator. Blood relationship. Although we are not directly created by the greatest creator, the source of life comes from the greatest creator. Without the greatest creator, there is nothing. Without the greatest creator, there would be no gods or demons, and without gods or demons, there would be no humanity. In other words, without the greatest creator, there would be no humanity. From a blood perspective, the greatest creator is the father of gods and demons. Gods are the fathers of humanity, and demons are the uncles of humanity. In other words, the greatest creator is the grandfather of humanity. Jesus called the greatest creator Heavenly Father, which is completely correct, because Jesus was created by the greatest creator. If we humans also call the greatest creator our Heavenly Father, we are putting ourselves on equal footing with Jesus as a God, which violates ethical relationships, because Jesus and other gods created us according to the greatest creator's requirements. Our Heavenly Father is not the greatest creator, but rather the gods. Emotionally, the greatest creator is our grandfather. The gods such as Jesus are our fathers, Satan and other demons are our uncles. Celestials are the higher levels of human life, and the Buddha is the highest level of human life that can be reached. Grandfathers always love their grandchildren, and the greatest creator always cares about humanity. As long as we always respect and honor our grandfather, and not make him angry, we humans will have a bright future. Even if our fathers and uncles want to punish us, as long as we hold on to our grandfather's hand, our fathers and uncles, out of reverence for our grandfather, will have to let us go. The relationship of distance. The distance between us and the greatest creator has two meanings. From a material perspective, the distance between us and the greatest creator is immeasurable and extremely remote. The farthest galaxy from Earth that we currently know of is 27 billion light-years away, and the diameter of the smallest known particle, a quark, extends more than 30 billion light-years away from Earth in the negative direction. Moreover, the conscious energy clusters of the universe are not at the center of the universe, just as the human brain is not located in the middle of the body. From the perspective of 36-dimensional spaces, the greatest creator's essence is in the zero world. While humans are in the human world, separated by an insurmountable chasm. From a spiritual perspective, we are one with the greatest creator, and there is no distance between us. All things in the universe